The warmth has slowly been returning this week, and as we head towards the bank holiday weekend, it's going to be starting to feel quite hot actually, as heat wave conditions are likely to be met from this weekend onwards. Initially, the hot weather just arrives into southeastern areas, but into the start of next week, it will push further north. So by Monday and Tuesday, more northwestern areas will see temperatures in the high 20s. We're likely to see 30 degrees across the south and central areas on multiple days over the next coming week, which is pretty unusual for the time of year. In May, we've only in the past had 3 consecutive days where we've had 30 degrees or more on our records, and we could beat that, as well as potentially coming close to our May maximum records. So this could be quite a notable event when it comes to heat. So how does that heat build in? Well, these are the temperatures compared to average for Friday and into the weekend. You can see on Friday, it's particularly eastern areas of England that are looking quite warm compared to the May average, as well as parts of northeastern Scotland. That heat also into parts of the southwest. Still actually quite cool compared to average across the far northwest. We've still got weather fronts here. I'll show you more information on that in a minute. On to Saturday, that heat becomes more dominant across more southern central areas, still up across northeastern England, eastern Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland starting to see temperatures above average. And then it's Sunday where the temperatures really start to climb. We're likely to see 30 degrees on Sunday, particularly across the southeast, but also into central areas. So temperatures well above average from Sunday onwards for much of England and Wales. And that heat is most likely to last into next week. So what's going on to change this weather from the westerlies? So far this week, we've had a lot of showers through the early part of this week, and it will be turning drier. That's because the jet stream is becoming more amplified. You can see the jet stream here. It's quite a weak area of the jet stream, but it becomes amplified nonetheless, and high pressure builds in from the near continent. There's still fragments of the jet stream pushing up to the north and west, and by Saturday into Sunday, there is still a weather front up to the north and west of the UK, and there is a little bit of uncertainty as to whether that would push in later on in the bank holiday weekend, but I think it's most likely that high pressure is going to keep those weather fronts at bay. It's also worth noting we've just got this tiny area of the jet stream here down towards Iberia. It's a cut-off area of the jet stream, and that could push up in the early part of next week and could be the reason why this heat starts to break down. But at the moment, there's no real signs of this high pressure, this heat breaking down in the near future once it does set in. So on Saturday, you can see on the temperature gradient here, we've got quite warm air from the near continent. The air has come up from Iberia, and that will push further widely across the UK as we head into Sunday. You can see the peak of the heat really starts to push in through Sunday quite widely across England as well as Wales, with that high pressure really dominating our weather. We're not quite there yet. We've still got a few weather fronts to push up from the north and west. That high pressure is not entirely dominant just yet. So through Wednesday evening into Thursday morning, we'll see weather fronts push across more north and eastern areas of the UK, north and northwestern areas of the UK, Northern Ireland, western areas of Scotland, seeing a pretty damp day. It's not particularly heavy rain, but there's going to be a lot of cloud associated with those weather fronts, particularly across coastal areas, any high ground as well. A different story though for central and eastern areas, as well as the south coast of England. More sunshine developing, particularly into the afternoon. Temperatures climbing towards the mid-20s. You can see 24 degrees, possibly 25 in the south and east. Then through Thursday evening, that weather front continues to push up to the north, but you can see it does turn drier more widely across the UK. That's high pressure starting to build in from the south and east. So a bit of a damp start to the night, but it should turn a little bit drier by Friday morning, but there's still a lot of cloud. You can't see that on the graphics, but this cloud will be quite thick across coastal areas, West Wales, perhaps the coast of Cornwall as well, seeing some quite misty weather to start the day on Friday. Very clear though to the east, temperatures to start the day in the mid-teens, so a pretty mild night to come on Thursday night. Then on Friday, those weather fronts have not disappeared just yet. It will be quite a slow process, so that doesn't mean we're going to see loads of sunshine across the north and west on Friday. But it does look drier on Friday compared to Thursday, and certainly compared to earlier on this week. In the south and east, though, that high pressure is getting to work, and so there's going to be very little cloud in the afternoon, and we all know the strength of the sun at this time of year is strong, and so it's going to feel pretty warm. Temperatures climbing towards 28 degrees across the south and east. We could see temperatures a little bit higher than that, 29, possibly close to 30, if we do see very long-lived sunshine. But notice temperatures are widely into the low 20s, 23 degrees for Newcastle here. So it's going to be a warm day quite widely on Friday. And then we start the bank holiday weekend, and that's where the warm air really starts to build in. There's still a weather front scooping up to the north and west, pushing into northeastern areas. That'll bring a bit of cloud overnight, should clear by the morning. And there is a weather front kind of lingering out to the north and west. So there's a few showers here and there. We could see a few showers across the far southeast, parts of East Anglia, for example, just an odd light shower into the afternoon. Earlier on this week, we were talking about the potential for thunderstorms and heavy showers, particularly across southern areas. And that risk has really lowered. It's not completely zero risk, so it's something to keep an eye on, just something in the back of your minds. But I think it's most likely to be a pretty dry day for most of us on Saturday. And the highest temperatures in the southeast, highs of 29 degrees, but widely a very warm day, temperatures in the 20s for most areas of the UK. That's just away from the very far north and west. We're a little bit closer to this weather front. It's quite a weak affair, the weather front. There could still be some brighter spells in between, but temperatures will take a little knock because of that. The heat will arrive into these areas later on into next week, however, most likely. Then we're on to Sunday. Still this weather front lingering up to the north and west. It's not going to make much progress, if any at all, inwards into the UK. So for most of us, that's when the heat really starts to build. Widely a very sunny start to the day, probably a pretty mild night as well. Plenty of sunshine into northern England, southern areas of Scotland, northeastern Scotland as well, seeing a pretty bright day. And temperatures are likely to hit 30 degrees, possibly more than that, on Sunday. The temperature record for May is just over 32 degrees. So we could be coming close to some pretty exceptional May temperatures from Sunday. Closer to 30 degrees, to the high 20s across central areas of England, down towards South Wales as well, the south coast of England. So pretty hot, to be honest. And even if you don't see 30 degrees, well, it is going to be feeling warm, particularly in that long-lived sunshine away from the coast. We'll start to be able to see a bit of a sea breeze developing across the most coastal areas, so it will feel a little bit fresher for these areas. And then we move into the bank holiday Monday. That high pressure is not going anywhere for Bank Holiday Monday. We hold on to the heat. In fact, it might push more widely into Wales, so further north into England and parts of Northern Ireland, possibly parts of Scotland, starting to see some pretty warm weather as well. So high pressure is set to dominate from the start of next week, and it's likely to last. Now, there are a few changes in that position of that high pressure that could change the exact weather and where exactly will be the sunniest and the warmest. And this is the probability plot that shows the types of those high pressure. So this is the high pressure centred over the UK, this orange colour, and this is from the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, even Tuesday. The most likely position of that high pressure is for that high pressure to be centred over the UK. So that means most areas seeing warm, sun or hot, sunny and dry weather. And then from Wednesday, Thursday onwards, we start to get a few more shades moving into here. And that's because that high pressure is likely to shift a little bit. Now, there's nothing majorly happening to our weather pattern to really push that heat out of the way, push that high pressure out of the way. So we're set to see high pressure dominate our weather in some way, shape or form. But the position of that high pressure may change. So there's potential for the high to push into more northern areas, so we could get some stuff coming into the south and west, or it could push into what you can see, this red colour, it's a Scandinavian high. It could push further east, which would allow a bit more of a northwesterly to come in as well. Let's have a look at the different scenarios, though, through next week. So this is the most likely pressure pattern for the bank holiday Monday. As I said, we're likely to see that high pressure centred over the UK. You can see 91% chance, pretty high likelihood of high pressure centred over the UK. The colours here show the temperature compared to average So it's likely to be pretty warm compared to average. Still quite warm temperatures, potentially still in the 30s into Monday as well across more southern areas. But by the time we get to the end of next week, well, there's much lower percentages here. That's not unusual. But there's also quite a few different iterations. So the highest chance, just nearly 20%, we've got this high pressure down to the south and west of the UK, which would allow more northwesterly weather. So it could turn a bit cooler and wetter from the north and west, but high pressure still pretty close, which would mean it's probably going to be quite dry, but potentially just a little bit cooler than earlier on in the week. And then we've got some other pretty similar percent rated chances. So we could still have that high pressure centred over the UK. Whether or not we hold on to the heat from the near continent, well, there's a question mark there, but that would still bring pretty dry and warm weather. All that high pressure just a little bit further south, again allowing weather to come in from the Atlantic just around the peripheries of that high pressure. So some slight differences there, but all of them showing high pressure pretty close by. And with high pressure close by, well, that means it's likely to be quite dry compared to average across much of next week. Now, May's already a pretty dry month in the year for us, but it looks like it could be quite a lot drier than average, particularly where we would usually see wetter weather across any high ground. And so it is expected to remain dry through next week. But what about the temperatures? Well, we are quite confident the temperatures will remain high into the start of next week. Monday and Tuesday, that's when we've got that centred high pressure across the UK. We've got London on the top here and then Belfast on the bottom. So the temperatures rise through the weekend, remaining quite high. This is in above the 20s, really, above that line. The temperatures remain in the 20s, most likely all the way through until the middle part of next week. And then we get quite a large spread, depending on the position of that high pressure, basically. And in Belfast, well, the temperatures gradually rise through the weekend, and then it's actually Bank Holiday Monday into the start of next week where we see the peak of the heat, which means that although you might not see the heat across more northwestern areas initially, it does look quite warm into the start of next week. And then beyond, it remains pretty warm as well, but it's into the end of next weekend, things potentially become cooler. Notice as well the minimum temperatures coming quite a bit above average as well, so it starts to feel quite warm at night. So potentially quite a prolonged spell of hot weather, quite notable for this time of year. So we'll be keeping you up to date throughout the rest of this week and over the weekend. Thank you very much for joining me. Bye-bye.